Breaking this morning, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz announced he would not be seeking re-election.
Now, Walz said in a statement, quote, "I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all. Every minute I spend defending my own political interests would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who prey on our differences. So I've decided to step out of the race and let others worry about the election while I focus on the work."
Walz had been under fire recently over welfare fraud scandal in his home state. He addressed that in his statement, writing in part, "For the last several years, an organized group of criminals have sought to take advantage of our state's generosity, and even as we make progress in the fight against the fraudsters, we now see an organized group of political actors seeking to take advantage of the crisis."
Now, Walz had initially said he'd run for re-election back in September. Obviously, he changed his mind. You got your wish, Robbie.
I am thrilled at this outcome. I think this is the right thing to do. He oversaw, he allowed to happen on his watch a massive welfare fraud scheme involving fraudulent nonprofits, feeding kids, healthcare nonprofits, daycare schemes, which got a lot of attention last week. We could debate, quibble with aspects of not all the claims have been vetted and verified, but even before that YouTube video, the Nick Shirley video that went so viral, it turns out that numerous daycares were already being investigated by the state authorities. Payments had not ceased, even to ones that had been closed down. So a lot has gone wrong there. I don't want to make it about racism or about demonizing any specific community. God knows there's far too much fraud in welfare in red states and blue states and among every class of human being, and it's bad. But Tim Walz's reaction to all of this, I did not believe for 1 second he had a sincere interest in fixing this corruption. He tried to make it, oh, we're being so attacked and so persecuted that people have noticed this. I just think it was a bad response, and he was not a particularly impressive political candidate, and I can't believe he was Kamala Harris's choice for VP. But
now you're going on a rampage. I want to talk about at hand because you're kicking a man while he's down, which you're really good at. I think that we need to provide some grace for Tim Walz. Now, during the pandemic, there were a lot of people that, and federal regulations were relaxed in a way that a lot of people and abuse happened during the pandemic. Many people have already been prosecuted. So I'll give him that window when the pandemic was at its height and coming right off of that. But when he just responds to it in the way that he did now by putting some sort of task force together in December of 2025, and saying I'll take some fault for some things but blames the federal government for other things, I don't think all of the entire year of 2025 or even 2024 should have passed without him doing something that was a bit more. I do think that a lot of states will see a lot of fraud continue to play out past how people took advantage of what was happening during the pandemic. And no, all the governors can't resign. People need to.
And again, he's not resigning.
Yes, he's not resigning. He's just not going to run again. But I think other governors should use this as an example and say, hey, okay, we're not just going to point out certain people or races, which he was smart to say. We're not going to attack the entire Somali community because something went wrong here, but we should respond quicker, even if it may stain our legacy in some way, because we understand that a lot of different states were taken advantage of during the pandemic. But what shouldn't happen is that years afterwards, it continues on. And so, I'm excited to hear about what Amy Klobuchar has to say, because the New York Times is reporting that she will put her name in the hat for governor. I think she's a pragmatic person that has worked across the aisle, really smart, and I think that she would have a great opportunity to lead Minnesota. So that would be an interesting, probably easy race for her to win. So I think that that's a good option that they have on their hands.
It's interesting. She wants to go from Senate to governor. If they go from Senate to governor, governor to senator, I don't know what's the more appealing job.
Well, don't you want people to have experience in the government when they go into different positions?
I was just talking about what she has presidential ambitions. She ran for president. She's going to settle for governor of Minnesota, but it's fine. I don't. She's done a lot that I don't agree with, but we can get into that at a.
But you like her better than Tim Walz.
I like her personally. I've actually lived, I won't say where, but in the same building as her in Washington, D.C.
So you guys rubbed elbows.
See her in the elevator, said hi to my little dogs. I don't bear her any personal ill will. I don't really bear Tim Walz any personal ill will either. He didn't bully me as a kid or something, but I don't think he's that politically talented, and it was a very odd choice for the vice presidency. Kick him while he's down. I mean, when he ceases to be a notable political figure, he can retire and not be. I think it's awful that some people apparently drive by his house and scream the R slur at him, and like people shouldn't, get a life. Don't do that. But it is fine and in fact good to criticize the kind of governance he presided over. In addition to everything else, the thing I hated about him from the beginning is that under his tenure in Minnesota, there was a COVID snitch line where you're supposed to report your neighbors for not following social distancing. That does it for us on Rising Live. We got to run, but look out for more exclusive YouTube content coming your way later today, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you all week. Take care.
On the snitch line.